You already know what it is, your boy Kev from 1122 Solutions. We talked about everything on the Untold interview. Make sure you tap in and make sure you get this accountability guide. Hold up, see what it is? There you go, tap in. Jews don't work unless you do. 1122.
I got Kev on the Untold interview.
Yes, sir.
What's going on,
I'm doing
brother?
amazing. Can't appreciate you. Thank you for having me. I've been waiting on this one.
Man,
I've been waiting on this one. It's important.
Listen, man. We're going to get right into it. Where you from?
From Brooklyn, New York. I'm from New York. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Born in Manhattan, raised in both Brooklyn and Staten Island. So I got to shout out Staten Island as well. Now, I mean, both boroughs raised me. You got, if you went to Staten Island, you either loved me or hated me. One of the two. Because you got to take that boat or you got to pay that bridge.
Now, in Brooklyn, I'm sorry, Staten Island, that's like the home of Wu-Tang.
That's correct. That's correct.
The home of Wu-Tang.
That's correct.
And how was your upbringing out there?
I mean, it's like everybody else. I was in the streets.
Okay.
I mean, wilding out, stuff like that. But my in the streets was more so getting in trouble with the females, getting in trouble with, things like that. Really don't want to talk about, too much in detail. I mean, I'm pretty sure there's a statute of limitations, but, I was in the streets getting into a lot of trouble. And I got in so much trouble that I wasn't allowed to go to school inside of New York City. So I actually went from New York City to a boarding school called Milton Hershey. So I'll tell you a quick story. I got this dude named Sean Nelson. I'm going to say his name. That was my friend.
Okay.
Who was going to school, and I think he said something crazy to me. And I banged his head on the bus, and bust down, like me, blood all over the place. That took me to court, everything else. He didn't press no charges because that was my man. But back then, if you said something to me, I was on go. Like, I had problems. I was the only child. I was always in the crib by myself, things like that. And, little things would mess with me. So he said something that I didn't like, and I would just, the school system said, no, we can't have you out here. But fast forward, Sean is now the CEO of Vimeo. You know what I mean? Which is,
wait a minute, hold on. So you're not just gonna let that go right here, man.
So the crazy thing, but I realized that I want to say maybe like 5-7 years ago when we bumped back in, he was like, I'm working on a little thing called Vimeo. What you mean? That's crazy. So, but that was my man. That he was always smart. So it's like that was who I was back then. So that's what makes me who I am today. Because if you said the wrong thing to me then, I was straight on it. I didn't like disrespect.
Now, can I ask you what he said?
It was something along the lines like, you fat bastard, you can't get no chicks and this, that, and third. Because I was like 300-400 pounds when I was young. I was a big kid. Okay. So, they used to make boom, ba, all this other stuff. So he used to say stuff to me. As my people, you can probably do that. But as my people, you shouldn't do that because you know how that make me feel. Right. So it was a chick that I used to like that I would, that's crazy. I would get off. It was. But, I would get off the bus early, right? Just to follow her and walk her home on some kid shit. But she didn't know that I was following her walking her home. But my peoples knew that I liked her. But long story short, I seen her messing around with one of my peoples, and Sean was making fun of me because of that. And then, he just set me off, and that was it. So from there, I couldn't, it was just too much reoccurrence.
In school. In New York terms, we call that styling on you.
That's correct. Yeah, he thought I was styling on you. Yeah. Okay. And I was like, that was it. That was it for me. So, my moms and my pops, they sent me out to Milton Hershey School, which was a boarding school, and I was there from 9th grade to 12th grade. But that, enabled me to learn so much about myself because I was the only black kid in a student home with 13 other white boys.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. So, So it was a beautiful experience for me. So now I can navigate through any system because I know exactly how people think, how they operate. I'm waking up with them. I'm going to sleep with them. I'm eating with them. I'm doing a lot of things. So I know different things, about different people from that experience. And I still got, friends to this day from there that's my brothers and sisters.
Now, being relieved from the public school district, am I correct?
Yep.
And going to boarding school, I know that the way it went down where you had to make that transition, mm-hmm. But was the education and the quality of people that was in the school, was it a lot better than public school?
Absolutely. The education was different because you had to learn in school and you had to learn at home. So at student home, you had student home parents. So the student home parents would check your grades, make sure you was good. And then if you wasn't good, you get on this thing called detentions, which is 30 and 30, 10 and 10, 20 and 20. So you'd be sitting in a seat just like this, and all your friends would be outside playing, and you couldn't go nowhere. So you'd be just sitting there. And that's if you got in trouble in school or you got in trouble at home. So a lot of times in school, and if my Milton Hershey people are watching this, I was always in trouble. So I'm always sitting in the chair. So my friends would be out doing stuff. They'd be, extracurricular, school dances and stuff like that. And I could never go because I'd be on my 10 and 10, my 20 and 20, my 30 and 30. But in regards to the school, it made me focus in on what I had to do so I could not be in trouble, so I can go see these things.
So
but
your
public school,
behavior
they didn't
changed.
care. Public school, they didn't care. Whether I came to school or not, they didn't care. I was a number just going through the system. That's
Right.
what it is. So that was different. And then in public school, we was just so crazy back then. And during playground, right? I would say outside. Everybody be outside, it's like the yard. But everybody be outside, and you don't even know the other person. You just point and be like, I want to fight you. I don't even know you, but you just point. We fighting. Point, we fighting. It was Stapleton versus Park Hill. Point, we fighting. It was just for nothing. But when I got to Milton Hershey, I saw that there was cliques, but it wasn't beef. It's different. Everything don't got to be beef. Like I could probably not like you, but I don't got to run up on you because I don't like you. I can just stay the hell away from you.
Now, going to boarding school, when somebody have an altercation, did they just break dances?
You called my school beat it. That's what you just did. That's what you just did. Nah, there was fights that went down there, but you got to understand we lived with each other, right? There was about 13, 14 other student homes. So 9 times out of 10, I knew the person that you live with. So the person that you live with would probably come to me like, yo, Kev, he cool. Now, I mean, you ain't got to do all that. Yo, Kev, this is what he mean by what he said. So that just gave me the like, okay, maybe I'm looking at things a little different. I don't got to be that live wire all the time. We could talk it through. We could talk it out. And if I got to go upside your head, I will. But at the end of the day, I'm going to see you every day. In New York, you probably see him one time and may never see him again until you just happen to be in that area. But in boarding school, I'm going to see you. So it's either we're going to fight every day on site or we're going to figure out how to squash it.
Now, did that going to boarding school? Was it like where you had your parents moved like closer to the school?
No, so my parents stayed in New York.
Okay.
They was out there. They would have parent weekend. They come visit me. My pops tried to visit me as much as he could. My mom tried to visit as much as he could. But they was in New York. They really didn't drive that much. So when they came down there, we only had one place to go to. It was either the mall or out to eat. But that was it. So I was just me, and I had my brother JV out there, and my other brother Sheed, and so that we just created a family amongst each other. So like when people say I'm from the Milt, it's some real shit. It's like we really family. We've all been through the same thing, and it don't matter if a Milt walks through this door right now. I don't care if I graduated with them. That love is instant. Oh, word, you went to the Milt? What year? Word? Okay, yeah, I got you. Anything you need. It's like a fraternity or a sorority for females. Anything that you need, I got you. You a Milk.
Now, growing up in that boarding school and just in that era, what kind of music was you listening to?
All hip hop.
All hip hop
All
stuff?
hip-hop.
Hardcore or?
No, it wasn't really hard. So this is crazy. I don't like the Curtis Blows and the Daha and all that other stuff. I've never liked it. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? Slick Rick was the person that I listened to. Great Adventures of Slick Rick. Of course, we was in Hershey, PA, so we had the Wink 104s. Well, you don't know what that is. That's the white boy station. So they would play the AC/DC and the, Metallica and stuff like that. So when those records come on, like my wife could look at this, I know those songs because those songs are always there. So that's what I was talking about earlier. I got this kind of middle in me. I can jam out to all of that. But I'm listening to music, I'm listening to straight bar work. So that was, of course, Rakim, that was Slick Rick. Who else? I really, LL Cool J at the time, but that's what I was listening to.
So the names that you just gave, those artists are on, they were in the era where music had a message.
Exactly.
Music was educational
exactly.
some way. And
third base.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So and I want to segue into this question, but then we're gonna go back. The music from what you listened to when you was growing up versus now.
Mm-hmm.
what's your, because all right, so what I tell people, as I get older, my music changed. So if I was listening to Wu-Tang, Bone Thugs and Harmony, and Tupac, I'm not listening to that. I'm listening to some Jill Scott, some Music Soul Child. So what about you?
I'm still listening to Jay-Z. You know what I mean? Wu-Tang. I'm still listening to that. Like, could I get into that R&B back? Absolutely. I respect R&B. I can listen to that when it's time for that. I don't ride to that, but I can listen to that. But I feel like if you're searching for good music, you're going to find it. If you're searching for what you want to hear, you're going to find it. We're programmed to listen to the things that are popular, but popular don't make it good. It just makes it popular. Right. You know what I'm saying? So for me, like, I like, the whole Griselda wave.
Oh,
I'm a fan of that.
Yes.
And the reason why is because to me, they took Dipset and they took Wu-Tang and they took the Lox and they mixed it in a pot. And then you had Griselda. You know what I'm saying? And that those were the groups, to me, that's like the staple of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, like, you can always find Ransom right now. If people don't know Ransom, put out a crazy project. He's always putting out crazy projects. Like, you really got to search. And once you plug in and find that ecosystem, you can't say, for lack of a better term, hip hop is dead or music is gone or I can't find this. It's because you're not searching for it. It's out there.
And growing up, listening to hip hop, did you always want to be a part of the culture business-wise?
No, I want to be a rapper. Everything was a rapper. Everything was a rapper. So my man A.L. Sheed, he was the best person in the mill. So how we linked up is me and his sister was best friends. And his sister's cool. You know what I mean? Shout out to Zion. She's dope, man. She does things overseas for Sierra Leone, win a lot of awards. But she introduced me. She was like, yo, I know we cool, but you need to be my brother. So A.L. Sheed was born December 15th, I would have to say it would be 78. And I was born December 15th, 1977. So we brothers, because we were born the same exact day and we was into music at the same time. So long story short, he's doing music and he's killing it. And he's the type of person that's going to put a battery in your back and force you to rhyme. So as he's rhyming, then I'm writing rhymes and stuff like that. And then I'm looking around, I'm seeing Slick Rick, I'm seeing this. Then I watched Crush Groove and it was over. I was like, yo, I see how a person like Russell Simmons can make it from, seeing talent and bringing it out there. And I wanted to be that talent that was on that stage. So that's where that love came from.
What was your rap name?
It was E = MC Squid was the first one. And then I was Kev Black was the second one. And then Big Apple IMC was the third one.
Big what?
Big Apple IMC. So it was the B in the game, always pack powerful lyrics every day. And IMC was I'm not a rapper, IMC.
Ooh. Yeah. Now I'm going to ask you this question. A lot of these rappers don't even know the answer to what do an MC mean?
Oh, move the crowd, microphone controller, master of ceremonies. That's what it is. If you were MC, you're able to stand there and your words will change the environment, change the atmosphere, change the trajectory of everything. It's just you and the beat. So at that time, my goal was to tear everybody's head off lyrically.
So were you one of the, like, let's say, a battle rapper?
No, not at all. No, I was a shit talker. Because I was heavy, back then, and I slimmed down, but I still kept my heaviness mentality. So when you fat, you got to be able to have a comeback. You got to be able to say something smart, say something slick, because somebody always coming at you. So anytime somebody had something to say, it was right back on it. And now I'm using my words instead of having to use my hands. So now I can say something slick in a rhyme, and then it'll get at you.
So you kind of took advantage of the boarding school era with the rap thing, because here's this New York kid coming up here, now he hot. So did you ever go back home at a young age or after school?
Well, I would go back home, and my thing was I would go back home and the streets were still the same.
Okay.
And that's the thing that made me love the milk, because I realized that everything that I would have been doing, I probably would have been in jail, probably would have got caught up. Now, salute to everybody out in Staten Island, everybody out in Brooklyn, because I got love for them. But a lot of the people that was going through are not here with us. I got a good friend of mine that's been sitting in jail for a long time because of dumb shit, and that was my man. You know what I'm saying? And 9 times out of 10, 10 times out of 10, I'd be right there with him. If he was doing something, yo, Kev, we out. You know what I'm saying? So it gave me the love for that. So when I came home, it was just me and JV, which is my other brother, the first person. You ever find somebody that the first person that you know in life? So it's not really your brother or your family member. It's the first person that you can remember that's your friend. Right. Yeah, so that's who I've known him since 6 years old. So, you know what I mean? And we both went to the milk together. So when we went back home, then we would just vibe out because we was on the same type of frequency, if that made sense. So he would keep me out of trouble. I keep him out of trouble, play ball, and that's how I slimmed down.
When and why did you stop rapping?
I stopped rapping when, really, about 5 years ago when I opened up the studio 1122.
Wait a minute. So we're no longer talking about back in the day.
Yep.
5 years ago was recent. Was that right before a pandemic or no? It was after pandemic.
No, I would say I got 1122, maybe about, 2025, maybe about 2015, 2017, if I'm thinking about it correctly. Okay. Yeah, and what happened was I was rapping at the time. I was working on different projects, Total Disrespect. I was working on a lot of projects. We was making a lot of noise. We sold 30,000 out the trunk just hand to hand, so we did a lot. We had Marley Mall people bringing us down. We was performing state to state, city to city, stuff like that. So I was working on a project. And a partner in Delaware at the time named JB said that he was opening up a studio in Philly. So I said, word, I'm paying all the studio time. Why don't I just go down there, to the studio in Philly? So I go down there to the studio in Philly. And then fast forward, they asked, do you want to own the studio? Because another person, John Darko, was owning it. And, there's a lot going on. Life be life. And he was like, you want to take it over? I said, yeah, give me all the equipment. I'll do whatever needs to be done. I got it. So then when I did that, I'm in the middle of Philly. And I have everything that I need. And at the point where I had everything that I needed, I went to lay a verse down, and I didn't feel it. Tell me what's going on. And the reason why is because the last project that I put out was called Legacy. So my pops passed away 1122. That's why my company's name 1122. Because I'm doing everything that he wanted me to do and being everything that he wanted me to be. So what happened was when I released that project, and when I went to say something else, I had nothing left to say. It was it. And I'm like, well, I got the studio, I got the engineers, I got the event space, I got the connect, I got everything, but I got nothing to say. So I'm sitting in the studio, and one day, it's real talk, I'm crying. Because I'm like, yo, I got everything on my fingertips. What am I supposed to do? And then it dawned on me that I really didn't want to be an entertainer. I really wanted to be in the entertainment industry. So how can I take what I have and make it an industry staple? So that's how 1122 Studios and 1122 was born.
Now, when you got to that place where you couldn't no longer make music, where did that put you far as your music career? So my music career was always on a start and stop. And the reason why is because you can have people around you that'll plant seeds of doubt. At that time, I was married. So all she sees me doing is running outside and hanging out with my friends. But then if you really think about it, all I was doing was running out and hanging out with my friends. You feel what I'm saying? And that was the problem. I wasn't really seeing income from it. I loved it. There was money coming in, but I'm putting it right back in studio time, right back in the merch, right back in the CDs, right back in. So there's no real funds for the family. So I'd have to break off and, get a 9-to-5 and, do this, that, and the third to support my family. But it wouldn't be a traditional 9-to-5. It'd be a 1099. So that way I'm not on the books. I could do this, that, and the third and keep moving and doing entertainment. But that's the reason why the career never really took off, because I didn't take it as a career. I took it as doing some hood rat shit with my friends. I was having fun. We're going to Atlanta. We're going to Miami. We're doing this. We're doing that. And it looks fun, but it is. But at the end of the day, where's the business at? And that was my problem. Did you have like a manager, agent?
No, I was, we was everything to ourselves. We was everything to ourselves. We strategized, we figured things out. All right, this is what we about to do. We argue it out. And then, we full steam ahead. And there was no management. There was no nothing. So I guess I assumed that management role during that time as well, because, people looked at me, okay, what you going to do? because the type of person that I was, if I went to the club, and this is post Averex now, I went to the club, a lot of people remember my face. I had long dreads coming all the way down, so I kind of stand out. So if I go there, I'm going straight to the DJ booth, play this record. I'm going straight over here, straight to the VIP. You'll put this down right here, do this right there. So, you know what I mean? So I guess I took on that role at the time, but I couldn't take it seriously because I had people around me that was pulling me back down or pulling me away from what my dream and my goal was. So that's why a lot of times, and I know we bouncing around, you see me post on Instagram, keep going. Now, I can't say that to the world, but I'm also saying it to myself because at times you could still have people that will pull you down. And they may not be trying to, but they're planting seeds of doubt. Yo, why are you waking up in the morning and going there? What's that doing for you? Well, I mean, you could water the seed and then you wait for it to grow. Or you could just not do nothing at all. It'd be barren for the rest of your life. So that's what happens. So now it's tunnel vision. I have to make sure that I'm focused. And I mean, I'm hoping I answered your question because you got my mind everywhere right now. And I'm bouncing around.
So you got this studio. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you lost the passion to create music. Mm-hmm. Did you start looking at other artists?
Absolutely. So at the time, we had Son of the 215. Shout out to Son. We had Zig the Artist. Shout out to Zig the Artist.
Both of them is friends of the show.
Yeah. Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. Dope entertainers. Dope artists. Then we had MeWe as well. Dutchie Man. So those are the people. And then, there was other people. And if I'm missing anybody, I apologize. But if I'm thinking about who was the staple of 1122, that's who 1122 was at the time.
Now, you mentioned a lot of Philly artists.
Yes.
For a New York guy, why Philly artists?
I was in Philly. So my thing was, if I'm sitting in Philly, I'm not from Philly. You see that it's a Philly vibe. Everything that I did in Philly and that I do in Philly is to give back to Philly. The love that they showed me, I want to show it right back. It's important to me that we preserve the culture. And to me, always, even what I know from the beginning, Philly is the culture. I'll give you a quick story. When we went to the Greek Fest, the Philly Greek Fest, right?
Oh, man. What year we talking about?
Oh, man. I'm 47. We ain't going to date myself. But what I was saying is this. I always at Philly Greek Fest, always at Howard Homecoming, always at, freaking things of that nature. We went to Philly Greek Fest. And there was a cipher that went down in Philly. And they were spitting. When I say spitting, so me and my peoples, of course, we get in the cipher, we spitting. And we feel like we the nicest, but they all hanging with us. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, Philly is really the home of the spitters. So during that time, which is crazy, we broke into Power 99. And we had this thing called Fly Rap Money. We put a CD on every single desk in Power 99.
Oh
we put it, it was crazy. So when they came in the day after, I know they was like, how did these motherfuckers get in here? And why do we have all these CDs? But our problem was, once again, back to the business, we never followed up. But to answer your question, Philly always had a special place for me. And if I'm in Philly, I want to make it show that I'm not here trying to take away. I'm here trying to give back. It got to be mutually beneficial.
Earlier, you spoke about Averex. Mm-hmm. Could you elaborate?
Yeah, so I went to Grambling State University. I got in trouble at Grambling. You can see the thread to the story. I always get in trouble. When I got in trouble, my man, she went to Purchase University. And I went to Purchase University and I slept on his floor and I was going to classes with him and stuff like that because that was my man. And I'm out of school, so I'm with you. So Sadat X was doing
shout out to Sadat X.
That's how it all started. You know what I mean? So salute to Sadat. Sadat X was doing a show in Purchase University. He was like, does anybody rhyme? And my man, she said, yeah. So he said, yo, come on, let's tear it down. So we tore that shit down so crazy that Sadat X was like, yo, I need to take y'all on tour with me. Y'all killing it. And there was a dude there named Wonderland, which started to manage us at the time. So Wonderland got a situation with Averex. And Wonderland was like, yo, I need you to come in and help me. So when he came in, he had all these boots there. So the Averex had a boots division, had backpacks, all that other stuff. They had the clothes, they had everything. And they was trying to enter in the footwear division, but they needed help with their coats as well. So he was like, yo, come in here, come help me out. So he had coach there, he had this here. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? What should we do with this? What should we do with that? And automatically, I'm like, yo, boom, 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 boom. And they was like, oh, shit. So, they didn't know. I'm a kid at the time. 18 years old. So they said, you know what? I'm going to hire you to come on and help with the design. help with the marketing, help with the advertising, help with the promotions, because we need to get this out here. And there's 2 white boys. Shout out to Jeff and Jackie Kleiman and Sammy Safdie. And they was like, we can't go do it. You know what I mean? They're not going to respect us the same way. They need to see from you. So the first person I reached out to was Nas. Shout out to Nas. Nori, shout out to Nori. Brought them into the cockpit, laced them all with Avirexes. Then we laced Nas with the AV, and then AZ with the AV. So anytime you seen a video, Tony Touch, 55 MCs, everybody get AVs. Jay-Z's doing a video. Where they doing the video at? Everybody get an AV. So if you saw an Avirex in a video, or Avirex on a person from 1998 to 02, 03, that was all my work.
Oh man, you responsible for a lot of rappers.
Salute to everybody. If they didn't get it from me directly, I used to pull up, I go to the warehouse, I pick out a bunch of, I get a couple for myself, but I go to the warehouse, I pick out a bunch of them, I have them in the trunk, and then I pull up to the trunk, and Groovy Lou, shout out to Groovy Lou, but I would hit Groovy Lou off, and then Groovy Lou would place it in this video, place it in that video, so, made sure that Avirex was a staple in people's eyes, and it's just programming, and from there, we was out of here.
Now, at that time, you still had Pelly Pell.
Yep.
Was that Fubu?
Fubu was the competition.
Fubu. So that was the competition. Pelly
Fubu,
Pell was
Fat Farm. It was Fubu, Fat Farm. Fat Farm. Yeah, we had a Nietzsche. We had Gino Green, RL54. There was a lot because there was a big thing called the Magic back then. Any clothing designers know the Magic, but everybody would go down to the Magic, and that's where the stores would come and buy your stuff. So my thing was, if we go into the Magic, we want to make sure that we stand out. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but Nas had a brand called Esco.
Yeah, I remember that.
Willie Esco. So that was our competition as well. So he went from rocking Avirex to Willie Esco's. You know what I mean? And Nas know, but you know what I mean? So I used to, send a couple shots at Nas would send a couple shots back. But the thing was, I was doing music at the time, but I didn't tell people I was doing music. And that was my problem. So I'm rocking Avirex. I'm wearing Avirex. I'm bringing Avirex there. They asked me to go to the Source Hip Hop Awards, and we said no. They asked me. I was in the Source building. Roscoe, yo, let's go over to me and she. We were so hot headed because you gotta understand, Avirex was running. The industry for a long time. I'm hot headed. Somebody asked me, no, I ain't doing that. I'm like, no, I ain't doing that. I'm cool. You feel what I'm saying? Because I feel like I'm on top of the world, and I'm recording with my friends and not utilizing my connections at the time. James Cruz, the head of Violator, I was in his office when he was working with Reebok and Allen Iverson. He helped with the Reebok shoe. He don't even talk about that. But if he see me now, oh, damn, James Cruz, like people like that, I could have been working with in my musical career. But me, young and hot-headed, didn't do it. I didn't even tell him I rhymed. You had to find it. I used to be like, yo, you know what? I'm nice. You'll find it.
Now, why was you... Because you're just missing opportunities for collaborations.
Absolutely. Because what happens is that when you don't know what direction you're going in, you'll never get there. You're always spinning circles because you have no clue where you're going. So in my mind, I was the hottest in New York, in my mind. And at the time, and Jewels, let me shout out to Jewels, he was trying to get with my manager. He would come and he would pass his mixtape through the CD and salute the Jewels. That's not a shot at all. But I'm running around and I'm feeling like I'm better than Jules. There was no Harlem World at the time. So my manager was like, yo, you're not from Harlem, but we need to do something in Harlem. There was Cam, there was Herb McGruff, there was Mace, there was Children of the Corn, but there was nothing called Harlem World. So shout out Just Blaze. Just Blaze did my project for 9 Avirex jackets. And then I was signed to, shout out to Blackhand, Chaz Blackhand, Def Jam, for like 20 minutes because I was once again hot-headed in the streets, and I left it all over an argument with Avirex.
Why was Avirex based around the hip-hop culture?
What the real answer?
Mm-hmm.
We spend money. Why is Target's stock declining? We spend money. A lot of the major brands, look at Louis Vuitton. Does a black person own that?
No.
No. Look at Gucci.
Nope.
No. Only person that we could think about is Off-White, right? That a black person owns that we rarely lean into. Like if we lean into our black dollars, we lean into our black power. So they knew that if I put a young black dude on the street and I acted like it was their brand and their company, watch this go. And that's what happened.
Now that you say that, I look at like Polo, Timberlands.
Mm-hmm.
These are white-owned companies,
Mm-hmm.
but they base their brand around the black and the Hispanic culture.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I never understood that, and my question is, why couldn't just like a FUBU? Well,
Mm-hmm.
FUBU did.
FUBU did it for
They
us by
definitely
us.
did. Yup.
And it's crazy how they did it because LL Cool J lit it off in a Gap commercial
That was crazy.
for us by us on the low. That's the illest bar in the world.
Shout out to LL Cool J.
Shout out to LL Cool J.
He cross-branded that like crazy.
Cross-branded it like crazy. You know what I mean? So it's a situation where we knew our buying power. We know what it is, but so did they. And I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm the only one that did this. There was a lot of people, so shout out to everybody at the time. I don't remember, Alan and, Steve, Nagata, all of them. They was all there making sure that I was able to do what I was able to do. My problem was they paid me $400 a month, and then they gave me an expense, right? But the coach was $1,500 to $2,500. So I'm walking around wearing all this stuff, but I'm not seeing nothing in my bank account. So I'm feeling good, but I'm not getting paid. So when I go home, I just had a baby at the time. So when I go home and I'm leaving my baby mom's home so I can go to the Greek Fest, or my baby mom's home so I can go to this party and go promote, Avarex, but I'm not getting paid for it. How does that match up? So that's pretty, if you think about it with me bouncing around, that's pretty much the story of the life. The funds got to equate to what you're doing. You can still do it for the love, but where's the money coming from?
Right.
And you can't chase money because money will keep running. So I'm never saying chase money. But if you do it the right way, you do it with the love, and then you put the business behind it, that money is coming, I promise you.
Going into the music industry, far as you starting your own, can I say management?
Mm-hmm.
Who were some of the artists that you managed?
Shaheem was the first.
Okay.
Shaheem the Rugged Child. I want to say salute to Shaheem because he was the person that allowed me to say, you know what? I want you to guide my career. I want you to help me out. So all of the Dust Juice, man, we did a lot of things to get on Media Takeout. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember
Media
they
Takeout.
Still around.
Yeah,
they still around.
So we did a lot of things to make sure World Star all the time. He was always on the leaderboard before it was a leaderboard, this, that, and the third. Like we made sure that Shaheem was in the forefront of everything. So you could forget about Wu-Tang Shaheem and you knew Shaheem the Rugged Child. And that's when, and at that time, Jay-Z had put Shaheem in the book Decoded. And he said that if it wasn't for this person not picking up the phone, and I want to paraphrase, it would be Shaheem instead of Bleak. You know what I mean? And Decoded. So, you know what I mean? And they put Decoded and they put that one thing in Staten Island. So the very first thing I did with Shy was I recorded him in front of that excerpt. And then, that's how the whole Shy, and Shy and Bleak still go back and forth. Salute to both of them, and they're both my brothers. But it's like, it told me how to navigate an established artist career. So from there, I worked with, Fred the Godson,
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Fred the Godson, the Lost Boys. I don't know if you remember, the Lyricist Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked with the brothers over at Lyricist Lounge. So they did the Lost Boys, they did a lot of things. Red Cafe, that's how I got in the booking and stuff like that. So I was always working with artists to make sure that they was placed in a certain position and then it was mutually beneficial. They got paid, I got paid, we went home.
Now, working with artists, especially artists that, got established names for themselves, it's a lot of time consuming.
Absolutely.
It take you away from your family and it make you kind of like compromise business and personal life.
Absolutely.
How did you balance that?
It was difficult. So at the time, I had to bring my wife at the time in with me.
Okay.
Because I realized that I was spending so much time out the house, I was spending time away from my family. So she came and she would do the camera work or she would do, the graphics and stuff like that. And she was there. You know what I'm saying? So that helped me balance. But what happened in that moment was I was leaving my kids home. So I missed all the kid time. And a lot of times you got to balance yourself between life and kids. Even though my wife was right there, it was a long time that me and my kids didn't get along because they didn't know who I was or why I was running around. And just now to this day, that which is crazy, my son will play me old records. And he would say, yo, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I didn't know what you was talking about, stuff like that. But how I balanced was bringing her, but that kept me out of trouble. But then it got me in trouble with the family. So really, you have to figure out when you're going, and what I call it is go to grow, right? If you're going, make sure you're growing in a certain way. Whether it be financially or mentally, you got to go to grow. Don't go to hang out. You can pick and choose times to hang out. And you know as a person when it's a hangout situation, let's be honest. You know if you're just going to hang out or if you're going to do some business. So that's why I adapted that phrase, go to grow.
Now, what did you do with the music that you recorded that didn't come out?
Oh, it's out.
Okay.
It's
All
out.
your music is out, so
It's
you got
out.
nothing on the shelf.
Yeah, there's two things that I think got taken down. I believe Legacy got taken down because I want that for myself.
Okay.
No Apologies is still up there. That was when Trump was running the first time, and I felt like I needed to release a project that was owed to us. I knew where we were going in regards to the industry, and people don't see me like, so when I used to get in trouble back in the day, my mom used to make me read Black facts, Black history books and stuff like that. So I know a lot about us. I know a lot about history. I love history. And I feel like, you know what I mean, not to get too political with it, but a lot of things that are going on right now is taking us back years. So I made no apologies so I could say everything that I wanted to say to us.
Now, you ever work with an artist and being as though that you used to be an artist, you ever say, man, I could do this a little better?
I would say, yeah. Absolutely.
Man,
But
maybe you're not leaning on that car the way I would lean on that car for this photo.
Absolutely, I would. But I mean, I would just go home and quietly write to they shit that, you know what I mean, I didn't think they attacked it the right way.
Right.
Or and sometimes you could be with a person and artists are sometimes self-conscious, right? I'll say this respectfully. I feel like you should be able to go wherever you want to go when you get to a certain position. In my mind, nobody can tell me no. You can't tell me no. And if you tell me no, I want to know why. But there's a lot of artists, they don't want to get embarrassed, or they don't want to look a certain type of way, so they won't try. Me, coming from a salesperson, I try everything. So if I'm ever talking about the differences between if I'm managing an artist, for myself, I'm going.
The industry changed. The way that music is distributed changed. Artists is no longer selling physical copies, yet alone hearing physical copies. The streaming platforms. I don't know if the streaming platforms, hurt the artists or did it help the artists? What's your perspective?
Both. It helped the artist because it gave all your music right there in the palm of everybody's hands that can go worldwide. People can stumble across your record by liking somebody else's record. You could just go through a playlist and I can just add you to a playlist without having to purchase your music. That's how it helped because it enabled you to be marketed, enabled you to be advertised, enabled you to be global. I can take this record, put it on this playlist, and then I like this song. And then what happens when you listen to a record from an artist that you just find? 10 times out of 10, you'll go back and you'll listen to the rest of that catalog.
Right.
So that's what happened. So that's why I think streaming did, but streaming didn't pay you. But then what artists find out a way is, okay, I'm going to get paid off of my merchandise. Look at Chance the Rapper. I'm going to get paid off of my shows. Look at Sexy Red, $300,000 for a show. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get paid in other ways. So what the labels do, we're going to do a 360 deal. I want to get paid for everything. I mean, I want to take every time you get something, I want my hands in it because I invested in this project. You know what I mean? So what I would say is that, yes, it helped them, but then it made you figure out a way to get money in other ways. Now, you don't, as an artist, you have to have 5 to 7 streams of income. If you don't have 5 to 7 streams of income, if something gets cut off, then what are you going to do? Where do you go? And most artists, if you're established, let's be for real, you're not going to work at Walmart. You're not going to work a 9 to 5. Right. Most people, their pride, which is fine, is in the way. They can't do that. So they have to find another way to make income. So I always tell artists, you got to be looking down the road. What else am I going to do to diversify how I'm making this money?
Now, when you're dealing with an artist and you want to sign on as a manager, do you create like a phase pattern? Like for example, phase number 1, we're going to start marketing, promoting you, and phase number 2, we're going to do artist development and things like that. Like, what are your phases?
Well, I don't manage now.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so to be clear, yeah. So when I did, so right now I'm purely consultant work. I'm the operations manager for Freedom Thinkers Academy, which means I just do the day to day, and then I handle the operations for Freedom Thinkers Academy. But I'm not managing Free or managing anybody else. If there's a deal that comes to the table, you know what I mean, shout out Petey Crack, you know what I mean, he'll send me the contract. Yo, Kev, take a look at this. What do you think? And then I'll consult from there. You know what I mean? So that's what I do. But in regards to management, it's always artist development first. And then I ask myself, and then I ask you, where are you trying to go? What do you want to do? Now, if a person tells me I want to be famous, I want to be rich, I'm done with you. I can't. That's too much of a loaded answer. Everybody wants to be famous. Everybody wants to be rich. Where do you want to go? Because if you think about it, if you can make $30,000 a month from music, and you make $30,000 a month at your job, which one do you want to do?
Right.
So now you just replaced your job with music. So now you're never working a day in your life because you're having fun doing what you love, making the same exact amount. So the next question is after that is, what does success mean to you?
Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that artists, if they don't do the longevity run far as investing into other endeavors, do you feel like if they just stick to music as being an artist, that they won't have that longevity money?
Great question. Depends on your paperwork.
Okay.
I'll answer it that way. If the business is right, if your points are right, if your residuals is right, if you have ASCAP, BMI, if you have people, I got lawyers watching lawyers so I don't go broke. If you got people watching over your money and overseeing where your money goes, yes, you could be successful being just an artist. But I also say if you put all your eggs in the artist basket and you're searching for that next hit, let's call it a fiend, you're searching for that next hit and that hit doesn't come, where are you? That's where we get the 15 seconds of fame, right? And then what can you do? You can tour off of those legacy records, we would call, but then that's all. What if we don't want to hear that anymore? What if that gets phased out? Right now, I'm 47 years old. A 22-year-old, what did I see the other day? I think it was on Abbott Elementary. I think they said something like, In the Club is an old record now. You see what I'm saying?
That just sounds crazy.
That sounds crazy, don't it? But think about it. Flip that. That does sound crazy that In the Club is now an old record. So if 50 Cent just rode off of In the Club and didn't do Power, didn't do this, didn't do that, where would 50 be?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Where would he be if he didn't diversify? He had G-Unit clothes. We don't see that no more. Because what happened, he was like, I don't know. He tried a bunch of things. You're going to fail at the things that you try. You try a bunch of things, but you fail forward.
Right.
And look what he's doing. Now he don't have to rap unless he wants to.
Freedom Thinkers Academy.
That's correct.
Why did you choose to work with them, and when did you start working with them?
Great question. So I didn't choose to work with them. It was crazy. So managing Son at the time, Freeway had these change, Freedom Thinkers Academy. He put him down on the table. He said, who wants to be a freedom thinker? Son is always a forward thinker. So he circled it. He texted me. He goes, yo, I think Free starting the label. I said, where are you? He was like, yo, I think, you know what I mean? That's the situation. So I used to, still do book artists at the time. That's what I was doing. So I booked Free a couple of times. And Free actually came and performed for Free, salute to Free, at my Casanova 2 times event when he came down to Philly. He performed. So, you know what I mean? I always wanted to pay him back for doing that because I didn't even know he was coming. So I booked him down at A3C, told Free, I got an artist I'm working with, this, that, and the third. Cool. So I'm like, the next time Free comes in the studio, I want to find a show for him. So I called Free, and he probably don't even know this story. But I called Free, I said, yo, Free, I got some money for you, but I want you to check out this artist I'm dealing with. So of course Free gonna come get the money, but then he's gonna check out the artist I'm dealing with. The artist I was dealing with was Son. So we listened to Son, we presented Son, and he was like, oh, wow, Son is dope. Maybe we could do something here. I think he could be a freedom thinker. So then, we got this. So then we left, and then there was a person named Clemmy, which is Free's right-hand man, called Son, and was like, yo, what's up with your man? Who's that? And the Son said, yo, that's my manager. If you want his number, here you go. So Son gave Clemmy my number. Clemmy called me. He was like, yo, I'm thinking about we're doing Freedom Thinkers Academy. I want to bring you on. So we had another meeting, and then he brought me on as operations manager for Freedom Thinkers Academy, and that's how that happened.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Son of the 215, that's my guy right
Son
there,
of the
man.
215. And if you know anything about Son is always putting things together, putting pieces together, putting puzzles
That's
together.
a fact.
Son has been the roadmap to myself in Philly since the beginning.
Man, son, we attended Delaware Valley Charter when charter schools first came into Philadelphia.
Wow.
We attended that together. He was going by
D Bills.
D Bills.
Yep.
Yep. So
I met him as D Bills.
yeah, so we used to do the rap battles in there. You know what I'm saying? Banging on. I used to rap, so we used to do the rap battles and stuff. And to see him, where he at right now, with his career, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Proud of
I'm
him.
definitely proud of him, man.
I want to say this. I've always seen that as Son. There was one year that I was managing everybody. And this is just a truthful story. I called Son, and I'll never forget it. It was right before New Year's. And I said, Son, if you're ready, I'm going to focus everything on you. I'm going to leave everything alone, and I'm going to focus on you. If you're ready, let's go get it. And I'll never forget, I'm the Son. I'm son, I'm the Son. What we going to do? I've been waiting for you to say that. OG, I've been waiting. You know what I mean? And then from there, we just rocked out, and I rocked out with Son, and, that's how that went. So whatever, me and Son link up, that's my brother. That's a good brother, and I'm proud of him because I've always seen what this is now because he researches, he understands, he pays attention, and then he takes it a step further. So this acting, all the other thing that he's doing right now is meant to be done, and it's going to be even further. So salute the Son.
Freeway, he's doing a lot, man. He's going through a lot.
Yeah, resilience.
Yeah, man. Major shout outs to to Freeway. I told you earlier, I seen him, he was doing something with Dame Dash.
That's correct.
Right. Was that a full-blown album?
That's a full-blown project. I got the pleasure of listening to the project. It's dope. Shout out to Dame. He actually went out there. He recorded that in 3 days. They went down there. They had the band set out. And Free don't write. So, he dunked everything. He sat there. He laid it down, chopped it up. They sent it over. I was like, oh, this is crazy. So, So it's a project. I'm not sure when it's coming out, but I know that they've been doing different things on America New, which is Dame's project. And then there's another company that put out something just last week that they did live. So you'll be seeing some stuff from Dave. And I believe Dame is going down to South by Southwest. So they're going to do something out there as well.
Dope. That's dope.
So Dame is back to his get on my grizzly, get on my grind, get out there like a new artist, because you never really seen Dame as an artist. You see Dame as Dame. Right. You know what I'm saying? So with Free being on there, it's a nice blend, and it gives you that, that Rockefeller.
And Free, he sound good with a band, man.
Yes, sir.
He sound real good with a band. A lot of artists, they don't do well even without their lyrics on the beat during performance.
Say that again. I tell people all the time, stop performing over your vocals. The reason why the vocals are there is for established artists when they're performing in arenas and people can't hear that in the back or can't hear it in the rafters. So you need that there because of the room. But when you're performing with your vocals, what you're doing is that's your crutch. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear you. If you hear any established artist, there's no vocals. What you have is a track, a performance track with your background vocals, which is cool, but that's not the verse. That's ad-libs and the hook. You can take a breath. But you don't need your whole record there. I don't want to hear your record. I want to see you perform and be like, yo, I wonder what that record, Let me download that. Let me hear that. That's what a performance should do to you.
Being a consultant, I'm pretty sure you ran into times where working with a client could become overwhelmingly difficult.
Yes.
Without saying a name, can you give us a time?
Yes. This person gonna know. What I'm gonna say is this, but I say it. I'm gonna sit up in my chair to say this. When you tell me the same things over and over again, and I tell you what to do, and you're not doing it, you're going to have the same result, right? So I look at it this way, like a trainer. Your trainer will tell you, come to the gym 3 times a week. Don't eat any fast food. So you come to the gym once a week and you eat hamburgers and cookies and cake and all the other stuff. You came fat on Monday, you're going to come fat on Tuesday, right? So all the trainer can do is tell you what to do, and then you have to do it yourself. And quick plug, that's what the accountability guide is. It'll tell you exactly what you do, but it's a workbook because you're going to do the work yourself.
What's that in your hand?
This is Dreams Don't Work Unless You Do. It's the accountability guide. And once again, this is the guide that's going to determine whether you have a hobby or a business. And a lot of people don't know that. And if you do find out that you have a business, then what are the strategic steps to get there? I had a conversation with one of the people that graduated from the school. And she said that it's difficult for me to reach out to other people because I really don't know a lot of people that's going to be able to help me. So I said, what do you do? And she said, well, I do scrubs. So I said, well, what else does Freedom Thinkers Academy do? She said, well, I know that you have programs. I said, well, did you know that we have medical billing and coding? We have phlebotomy. You can do the scrubs for that. For real? Yeah. You have everything that you need in the room, but you got to figure out what you need. Just really take a step back and realize where your resources are, pull your resources, and then you can get it. Because God don't give you, he don't make mistakes. He don't put people in your life for no reason, right? You can want flowers, God will give you rain. You can want a house, God will give you a door, hammers, nails, build the house. That's what it is. He's just not going to give it to you, but you got to ask for what you want. Your tongue is important. I don't know if anybody ever realized, like when you say something and then a couple hours, couple days, whatever you said came through, and you'd be like, yo, why did this just happen? I was just talking about this. Whenever that house said $1 million, $1 million, because that's what I want, because you can really, really, truly speak it into existence. And you know what I mean? The reason why I'm tearing up, this is a real conversation. When you say something and you believe it, I promise you it's going to happen. There's been so many things, and that's why you got to watch what you say. There's so many things that I've asked God for, and I've been 100% serious about it, and it came through. But I didn't want that. But I got it anyway, because that's what I asked for. I don't want this situation. I'm tired of this person. I can't stand that. I can't stand it. It took him out of my life. But then I realized why I needed that person in my life. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful what you say, because it goes both ways.
With Freedom Thinkers, if a potential artist was to, attend that program, what are some of the things that they can expect?
Okay, great question. So we have an audio-visual program, which is 4 weeks audio, 4 weeks video, and then every Friday you get a foundation class where we teach you marketing, advertising, licensing, touring, LLC. In the audio class, we teach you recording, mixing, mastering, songwriting. In the video class, it's Adobe Suite, it's Photoshop, it's storyboarding. So it's everything that has to do with the entertainment business. Then you get a certification, and then we do we assist you with getting a job. We don't do job placement. So we'll give you everything that you need to get in front of that employer, and then you close the door, and then it's up to you and that employer to get it. So that's audio-visual program. My business development manager, Saquana, she graduated from that program, and as you can see, what I just said is my business development manager, because she's learned everything, but she had a lot more than, some of the other people that was there, which is perfectly fine, but we've seen the grind, seen the work ethic and things of that nature. So if you come with that, you put the work in, she takes care of a lot of things for me, and that's on the audio video side. In regards to other things, we have phlebotomy, medical billing and coding, pharmacy tech. You take those programs, it's a 6-week certification, and then once again, we assist you with jobs. So what you'll be able to get is an opportunity to feed yourself and your family. Do
it come with a feature with Freeway? It's under 215.
You know what's crazy? Yes, it does. No, I'm not going to put that out there. But what I will say is this. So we did a program in Delaware at the CEB for the kids. And then we took them to Rock Nation. We took them to the Book of Hove. And then they put a record out called First Out the First. So if you look it up right now on Spotify, they have First Out the First, and then they have First Out the First featuring Freeway. And they didn't even know. So during graduation, they had put out the song, and then Free came out, and he did his verse live for them the first time they ever heard it. So that's out available now. And then there's another record for the other class that came out of OIC that Free is featured on as well. So Free, if you're working and you're within the ecosystem, 8 times out of 10, I'll say 8. You'll get a verse.
Now, why do consulting?
Because when you manage somebody, you have to manage their expectations as well. The expectations on themselves and the expectations of you, of what they think that you should be doing, what they expect you to do, but that's not what a management does. A manager is supposed to put you in a position that you're not able to get yourself, or you don't deserve really, so you're being put in that position, or make sure that all of your business is in order. So that way a person doesn't have to contact you for that. They can contact somebody else, or it gives you the buffer. That manager can be the bad guy. But the only time you need a manager is when there's something to manage. Do you not have enough time? Right? Do you not know how to manage your money? Can you not manage your calendar? Those are the reasons why you need a manager. But if you can do those three things, you don't need a manager. You need organization. Right? And a lot of people are out here trying to be managers, which is completely fine, but really don't know what they're doing themselves. So what you're doing is you're putting two people together that's spinning in a circle. But if you can feed off of each other and say, okay, this is where we need to go, then you can help each other. And I'll give you a perfect example, like LeBron and what's his manager's name that, what's his name? I could see his face, but I can't think about it. They all went to school together. But then he opened up his own sports agency. And I could see his face, but I can't think about it. But long story short, LeBron was like, I want my friend to manage me. But what you need to do is you need to go take business classes, management classes. And he put him in a room to get connections. So now I don't have to do it. My man can do it, and he can watch my front, my back, my side, this, that, and the third. But he also has the business acumen to get it done. And that's what a manager is supposed to do.
Maverick Carter?
Maverick. There you go.
When should an artist call Kev?
When they have no clue. No, for real. When they're tired of being on that hamster wheel. When they're like, you know what? My music is doing this and I need to do this. Why is it not doing this? All right, well, my career is going this way. I needed to go this way. Or, yo, Kev, I need to go to this label visit. Can you get me to this label visit? Or, Kev, I need to get on this magazine. I need to do a promo run, a PR run. One thing that artists miss out on is marketing and advertising. Whatever you spend on that project, you have to double it on marketing and advertising. And I always think about it as the inner fat boy McDonald's. When a Big Mac or when a new thing is coming out, how many times do you see that on TV? How many times do you hear about it? That's exactly how your project should go. It should be in your face every single day, because as humans, it's repetition. By the 7th time, I remember it. By the 9th time, it's going to tell me whether I like it or to dislike it. By the 12th time, it's locked in.
What do you say when an artist comes to you and they have a load of likes, a load of comments, a load of subscribers, a load of followers and views on YouTube, but they're all bots?
Oh.
How do you detect it?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you tell the artist?
Get them bots off your page. Only reason why is because I don't know, right? Let's be clear. 80% of the industry have fake comments, likes, and subscribers. When you first started at Instagram, you paid for them buckets of likes, right? And then if you look at it, you have 1.1 million followers, 300 comments. Don't add up. You should have at least 5 to 10% engagement on everything that you do. If you don't have 5 to 10% engagement on everything that you do, that means that you're not engaging, right? So let's think about this. If you see 1.1 million followers and they have 500 to 1,000 comments, they really have about 400 to 500,000 followers. Because that's the percentage. It's like numbers lie. Men lie. No, men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. It's easy, right? So if I see a whole bunch of followers and then I don't see a whole bunch of likes, I don't see a whole bunch of comments, I know they're bots. So that's the first thing. The second thing is you won't know where to go. You have to be looking at the back of your Instagram, because the back of the Instagram is your analytics. So if you look at my analytics, it's a Philly vibe, right? My number one thing is Philly. Then I have New York. Then I have a little bit of New Jersey. Then, you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking at it just off the top. I believe Atlanta's in there somewhere. Now I know, okay, if I do something in New York, I could plug in over here. I could plug in over there. I know exactly where to go. And that's what companies do, right? What people do is they want to look good. They want to feel good. They want that validation. So instead of just posting it and see what it does, they want to post it and dump 500 likes on there just to show people that 500 people like it. But you're not doing nothing but just showing people that, because it's not going to equate to dollars or cents.
Do that attract you to wanting to work with the artist?
Absolutely not. Unless I'm telling you something like this and you're getting it, and then you say, you know what, Kev? The next thing I'm going to do is this. I'm going to post something and I'm going to see what my real follower count is. And there's another thing, and I'm going to be very vulnerable with you. I posted 2 things last week. One thing, shot up, right? There's a lot of posts, a lot of engagements. Another thing didn't do so well. It also tells you what works and what doesn't.
Right.
So if you keep putting these bots on it, you don't know what's working. It's fabrication, like BBLs. It's fabrication. You have no clue what anything is. It's fake. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to make sure that you pay attention to not only the algorithm, because that's the buzzwords, but also the analytics, because the analytics is what's going to get you to the money.
So it's safe to say that the numbers, the industry really don't even look at the numbers, because there's artists that's out there that had a medium of like 300 to 500 followers on Instagram, and they actually, got into a situation with labels.
Mm-hmm. Well, they do look at look at the numbers. They look at the real numbers, and they look at the
real
buzz.
numbers. Okay.
So I'll give you a perfect example. Polo at the time was working with Rock Nation, and he told me, and I don't remember the artist's name, so I'm not going to say it. He heard that there was an artist buzzing in Philly. And he called me and said, yo, can you get that artist? That artist didn't have a whole bunch of, likes and comments on Instagram, but he heard that they was buzzing in Philly. So it's not that they don't take a look at the numbers, but they pay people to search the algorithms to see if they're bots. It's not hard to find, right? So if they're bots, they're off you. If they're bots, but you're hot, then they might bring you in and say, we know they're bots, but where are your real followers at? Because you have something here. But then let's take it a step further. If you have something here, but your business and your paperwork isn't in order, then we're off you. So that person came into the label, and if that person is listening, it is what it is. He came to the label, but he couldn't get signed because his paperwork wasn't in order. So now you missed the opportunity to get in on when EQ Distro was first starting, Rock Nation was going through its transition period, and you missed that because your paperwork wasn't in order.
Now, some would say, Kev, well, didn't Universal, Sony, didn't they get caught with bots on Spotify?
Mm-hmm.
And, Spotify had that glitch and they revealed the actual numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would you say to that?
What I would say to that is the industry is trying to play the artist game. They're trying to catch up. Because, let's be honest, nobody has no clue where anything is going. Right? So that's why even right now, I don't know if people know this, but you have to have both ASCAP and BMI. Before, you could just have ASCAP. So if you're doing a feature and this person has BMI, you have ASCAP, you can't share royalties. So you have both ASCAP and BMI, because now you can share royalties. Why? Because the industry is trying to find out how to corner the market. Where's this money coming from? Where's the trend? Trying to stay ahead of the trend. Oh, we need to look like this? Okay, let's dump a bunch of bots. We're a big corporation. They won't realize. That's what it is. So they're trying to keep up. And then by the time a label reaches out to you, that means that you're hot already. So you really don't need the label unless you want the money and the advance. But then what do you do with the money and the advance? Because once you take that, you're in the red. So if you take that, and of course, everybody want to buy my house. I want to buy a car. I want to buy the jewelry. Cool. All right, fine. But if you take that same exact money, I want to invest that in marketing and promotion or a business like a Wingstop or this, that, and the third, then it don't matter what happens to that record, because people are going to keep coming in and buying that food. You know what I'm saying? They're going to keep coming in and doing other things. And if something doesn't go right with that record, you got that money right back. But you use that and you invested it in something else. That you're using your advance money incorrectly.
Kev, are you a gatekeeper?
Absolutely. What a gatekeeper. Explain the term, right? I hate that term, gatekeeper. Right? What is that? To me, it's either you. So I'm gonna put it to you this, right? Right? Damn. Why you ask me that question? I'll put it to you this, right? A person, I could be around a person that wants to go sit inside Rock Nation, right? But their music could be doo-doo. Why am I going to bring doo-doo music to Rock Nation? And I know it is. But because you're my friend, I'm supposed to bring you here? No, you're not ready to go here. And now, can I tell my friend that they're not ready? No, because they're not ready to hear that. That's why I bust Sean over his head. Shout out to Sean. Shout out to Sean. Nah, that's Sean. But they're not ready to hear it. So a lot of times when people say gatekeeper, it's their clutch in their mind to say somebody's blocking me from doing something. Nobody can block you from the blessings that you deserve. It's impossible to be blocked. I hear that a lot. Now, you can call somebody and say, yo, somebody did some bad business, this, that, and the third. But who did that? Was that real bad business, or is there somebody throwing dirt in the game? Now, that's different from being blocked to me.
Is that being blackballed?
That's being blackballed. Now, we'll give you a perfect example. LL Cool J and Cannabis. I was a big Cannabis fan. The LL Cool J, a big Cannabis fan.
Oh, my
The LL Cool J blackball Cannabis.
Yes.
Okay, I agree. Now, let me take it a step further. When Cannabis put out his project, and I'm a big Cannabis fan, so I know how far you know what I mean, this goes.
Yeah.
I'm a big Cannabis fan. When Cannabis put out that project with Wyclef, how was it?
It went down.
Okay, so let's look at it from both sides. You got blocked, but your music wasn't good enough to withstand the block. If you got fire, you got heat, companies are going to mess with you anyway because they want money. They want the bottom line. They want to deal with what's hot. You can't block blessings.
Well, in Cannabis defense, he at that time he had he was the guy that made the lyrical miracle scientific stuff. So he actually pretty much developed that lane.
Yep.
At that moment, but he didn't have actual radio friendly songs.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I guess that's why Wyclef put him on songs like How Come and things like that. Mm-hmm. So it can actually, give the audience a different look on them.
But it didn't work.
It didn't work.
Didn't work. So, in Cannabis's defense, and I agree with that, he could have came back out and he was putting out crazy mixtapes.
Oh yeah.
Where's the mixtapes at? Where's the projects at? Why not go back to the streets?
Well,
why not keep going?
Look at the covers. The covers looked crazy.
It's crazy. You see what I'm saying? So who block who?
Yeah.
So yes, so I can attempt to do whatever I want to do. And no, I don't block people. And I'm glad you brought that up. Because some people may say, yo, Kev, you blocking me from doing this. Kev, you stopping me from doing this. I haven't been in the city of Philadelphia, and I've been in the industry for a long time, but I haven't been here. A lot of people here know the people that I rock with longer than I do. I can't block anything, right? I can't. People are human. They do what they want to do when they want to do it.
That's a fact. But if an artist is on to come up, can you have the power for them to say, hey, for them to either get a feature with Senator 215 or not?
Absolutely. I can make a call.
That's gatekeeping.
I can make a call. Now, why is that?
Because you got the power to say yay or nay for a person's situation.
So let me ask you a question. Why would I say nay if, and this is a business conversation, let's say artist A comes to me with $1,000, and I'm not saying that's how much he costs, with $1,000 in a hot song, and says, yo, I want a feature from Senator 215. $1,000 hot song equates to feature with Senator 215. Why would I say no?
He could have looked at you wrong in the club.
Never. Because
over a chick.
Over a chick. So let's say this. Let's use that scenario. So anything that I do, I either get between 10 to 20% of that. Right?
Right.
So if I bring $1,000 to Senator 215, when am I making $100 or $200 if I'm getting 20% of that? I might have a bill. Why am I going to stop myself from getting $100 to $200 because I'm mad at you over a chick? This is business. I don't have a 9 to 5. This is all I do. This is how I feed myself and my family. I haven't had a traditional 9 to 5 in 15 years. This is how I eat. There's no way that I'm going to stop you from getting money, because stopping you from getting money is stopping me from getting money. And I'm damn sure not going to stop me from getting money.
Now, what if artist that is trash come with the same amount of money? I'm talking about they are trash.
Man. Here we go with the question. All right, so
now this is where the gatekeeping kicks in.
This is where the gatekeeping kicks in. I will bring it to Senator 215, and I will tell him my opinion on the record.
Okay, then that's really gatekeeping, because if you already come with your opinion, Kev, you already pretty much telling him heads up, he's trash, but here was music.
Well, I have to.
Okay.
I have to, because I have to keep the integrity. I have to keep my integrity.
Right.
Because with artists, everything ain't all about a check. But I'm also not going to stop you from feeding yourself and your family. I'm not going to block you from getting $1,000 or $800 because I think something's trash. Who am I? You might like it. But I might say, yo, you know what? This ain't the typical record that you normally rap on, but they do got the budget and he is deposit ready. So I would suggest that you listen to this record. And if you like it, they ready to go. If you don't like it, then we could respectfully decline.
I can see that.
I got to.
I agree with you on that.
Because I can't just slide you a record and be like, yo, let's go get some money, let's get it. Because at the end of the day, it's not my face or my words on the record, it's yours. So if that record goes trash and it takes your stock down with you, I'm supposed to be protecting that asset, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so to me, it's not gatekeeping. To me, it's protecting the relationships that you're with. Because your network is your net worth. So if I keep coming to you and I keep, let's say even on this platform, I keep bringing you people that just sitting there and not saying nothing at all.
Oh, I hate that, man.
You be like, yeah, so where you from? I'm from Philly. You know what I mean? My phone, you see my number on that phone again, will you pick it up?
Nah.
No. So how is that gatekeeping? That's a person that's being honest about a situation that, I mean, you may not be ready for.
Now I'm gonna go in depth more. If 40 trash artists come to you,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna say, "Hey, wink, wink, they trash, but they paying," or are you gonna pass up all of that money from
Mm-hmm.
those 40 artists?
Mm-hmm.
How do you approach that?
40 artists that
40
are trash.
artists that are trash.
So once again,
I got him.
once again, trash. Once again, it'd be the same scenario. Have 40 artists that want to get. I ever sit with Free? Ask him. I send everything, and then sit with Beans. You know what I mean? You know, Benny. Anybody that wants a feature with anybody, I'll send it. You want a perfect example. There was an artist that wasn't that good at all, but he wanted a label visit with Rock Nation.
Okay.
We gave him, since you want to talk about gatekeeping, the label visit with Rock Nation. We said, I knew he wasn't good. They knew he wasn't good. He wasn't ready, but he had the money, right? Am I wrong in doing that? Or am I gatekeeping? Should I not have done that? I knew how that meeting was going to go. I knew that it was a waste of his money. He should have spent that money in so many other places, and he didn't.
But he wanted to do that.
So I'm going to give you what you want, but is that gatekeeping?
No, it's not gatekeeping. It's kind of throwing them to the wolves.
So then I re-ask my question. What is the definition of gatekeeping?
Yeah. Well, so my definition that I tell people with gatekeeping is this. Okay, you see this building, right? Mm-hmm. This is my building, my rules, my regulations, my policies, my wants, my needs. It all happens into this building. Mm-hmm. Now, if you got a bunch of people that want to come into my building and they don't meet those requirements, I could say no. Mm-hmm. Actually, I could tell the guy that's guarding it, take their money and still tell them no.
So there's a point to that. That's yours.
Right.
So you're gatekeeping yourself. So whenever I hear gatekeeping, they always say you're stopping me from going past you to someone else.
Right.
Because the gate is the gate.
But it's levels. It's levels to gatekeeping.
Okay.
So right now, you could say, hey, yo, Jay, I got Benny the Butcher.
Yep.
Right? But he's not really popping right now. I don't know, Blasey, he don't got nothing going on, but I can still send him. Now, you already put something in my head to say, okay, he's not popping right now. Mm-hmm. So now I'm like, okay, well, what you think? What you think, Kev? Mm-hmm. Don't do it. All right, I'm not going to do it. Mm-hmm. Or you can say, do it.
And those conversations happen.
Right.
So let me say this. Those conversations, and I can only speak for Kev.
Okay.
I can't speak for nobody else. So I always say, they say, Kev, what you think? If I think he trash, I say, you should listen to it. Because my perspective may be different from your perspective. There's been tracks that I've sent to artists that I wouldn't have picked that track, but they did. I was like, okay. You know what I mean? So opinions, right? Assholes. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
Right. Let me ask you something. Who are some of the artists, and I don't have to be specifically Philadelphia, who are some of the artists that you are looking at and you will potentially want to work with now?
That's a great question. Honestly, that's a great question. There's a lot of people that I'm looking at. I don't have anyone sticking in my head right now, which is crazy to say. I know that there's artists making noise right now, but like anybody that's really sticking out to me, no. Mm-mm.
Is it because
And only because you said, and I apologize,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I'm trying to exclude Philadelphia because where I'm at. But what I want to say is that I pay attention to everything. I come across everything. And my oldest son, he sends me a bunch of things that, you know what I mean, blow up, you know, afterwards and things of that nature. But I really pay attention to the talent, to the bar work, and when I'm outside. But there's nobody right now outside of, you know what I mean, my immediate area that's sticking out to me that's like, yo, I can't wait to work with this person. I want to work with that person. And the only reason why is because my mind is not on management.
okay?
So
Okay.
that's where that's coming from. I'm not saying that they're not hot, they're not doing anything, but my mind is not on managing an artist right now.
So, is there a time that where you say, "Hey, listen, what if I started my own label?"
Mm-hmm.
Is that still on your mind?
Yes,
Why?
because I feel that artist development is the key. And there is a couple artists that I'm looking at right now that in the
You
event
are
that I
looking
do,
at
that I do start a label, you know what I mean? That, you know, that'll be something that I come through. And you know, but that's something for me and my business development manager to talk about in regards to that. But there is a couple artists right now that I think is dope. And I'll say shout out to Nile, he's one of them. You know what I mean? He's a
Okay.
dope artist. You know what I
Okay.
mean? That's coming out, that's doing his thing.
My last question to you, Kev. What is one thing that no one know about you, but they should?
Mm. Dang. That's a deep question.
We get them all the time,
Yeah, that's
man.
a
We
deep
get.
question. No one knows about me, but they should.
We got them,
Yeah,
guys.
you
We
do
got them.
because it's just it's so much. My integrity is everything, and I think that, and I'm just speaking from the heart right now. A lot of people get misconceptions about what I do and why I do things, and I always say that people don't see your vision because it's yours, right? So I may say and do something because I see something.
Okay.
I see something. You might not see what I see, but I see something. And sometimes I just need you to trust me. Sometimes people, it's hard to trust a person when you don't see what they see. But just know that I got your best interest in heart. The other thing that I would say is, and this is just to anybody, there's a lot of people that pocket watch. You can't look at what another person's making. If you ask for what you ask for, that's what you get. If I can get you more, I'm going to get you more. Right? But don't get mad when a person gets one thing and somebody gets something else. That happens a lot in this industry. You feel what I'm saying? You got to understand, set your price, know your price. If you want over your price, get that as well. But that's what it is. But my integrity is everything. I want to make sure that everything that we do is mutually beneficial.
What I get from you, Kev, man, I know you're a businessman, and what I get from you is that you have a lot of integrity. You look for the artist to be successful, especially on your watch. I feel like you're here for the culture. I
Absolutely.
feel like you are an asset to the artist.
Appreciate that.
And I think that people should, you know, deal with you on consulting, management, however, you know,
Appreciate
whatever
that.
you got going on. It's hard to come across people like you because it's always. I always tell people life is is a transaction. It's a give and take thing. Most of the people they want to give, you know, receive,
Take.
and they always try to find a way to out hustle someone.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So when an artist, and it's great that you said about trust because it's hard for artists to trust people. And matter of fact, I'm not even gonna say that. A lot of artists don't know who to
That's
trust.
what it is. I was waiting.
Yeah, they
They
don't
don't
know
know
who
who
to
to.
trust, and they pretty much say, okay, well, all right, I'm with this person, and you know, I trust that they're going to have my best interest. I trust that they are going to put the 110% into building my career. What do you tell an artist that's saying, hey, listen, I know nothing about nothing. I just know how to make music. What do Kev tell that artist?
That's a great question, man. I want to back up a second.
Okay.
The reason why a lot of these artists don't trust people is because of how they were treated, right? And a lot of us, let's take it back from the Avarex days, we was all kids. We didn't know anything about the business, so we didn't know how to treat somebody. We didn't know how to conduct ourselves in a business meeting. We didn't even know what we were supposed to get. It was a fail-forward situation, and we acquired that knowledge along the way, right? So anybody that's in your circle, you should be able to trust. If you can't trust them, I can't stand keep your enemies close. I hate that term. I want my enemies as far away from me as possible, because if my enemy is close, I'm watching what they're doing and I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, right? So if I'm in, people are in your circle, we have to trust each other. And you'll know if I don't trust you because I'm going to start to distance myself. I'm going to start distancing myself. You may still have access to me, but that same access is going to be extremely limited. So that's the first thing. So what I tell an artist that just does music, and if you do music well, we're going to put together a marketing and advertising and a business campaign to make sure that being that you just do music, your music is out towards the world. And people are scared to ask this question. They hate to answer, what's your budget? Right? That's the elephant in the room, but the elephant is always standing there. It ain't going nowhere, right? You're going to have to spend some money to do something. You have to. You can't expect everything to just be given to you. You have to be able to invest in yourself. And if you don't do that, it's going to be harder for you. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule. You could put something on YouTube. You could put something on TikTok. It could be out of here. It can go viral. But that's a very small increment. Very small. So what I would tell them is, okay, it could be $500. It could be $5,000. If you've got $500, let's work backwards from there. With that $500, this is what we can do with that. That's what I would say.